So we are going to go through some of the notes that we were not able to get yesterday. These notes are already pasted in your notebook, so you're just going to kind of follow along with the videos and write things in. The place value chart that is at the top of the page actually has a clear plastic film over it. The reason for that is because we can use it over and over again. If you use a water-based marker, I was going to use Vis-a-Vis markers. You probably could use dry erase markers, although I'm not 100% sure. But the old-fashioned overhead markers called Vis-a-Vis, those work really well because they're water-based and you can just get it wet and wipe it off. So what we're going to do is just kind of practice saying some numbers and filling them into the chart, and then we're going to look at how to compare the numbers to one another. So the first thing we're going to do is just learn to recognize, based upon where we put them in the place value chart, learn to recognize which numbers are larger and which numbers are smaller, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about ordering them from greatest to least or least to greatest. So we'll start with a greatest to least example. So I'm going to say a number and we're going to write it in the chart and then we'll erase it when we get to the next one, okay? So the first number that we're going to write into the chart is 62,249. 62,249. So when you write that in the chart, you have to write it like you hear it and figure out where to begin the number. Well, since I'm saying 62 thousands, we know that we're going to begin in the thousands group, okay? And I didn't say anything about hundred thousands, so we know we're going to begin the number here. So 62,000. And I can put a little comment in there, 249. There's the correct way to write that number, okay? The next number we're going to write is 62,007. So it sounds a little bit like this one, 62,000. But since all you hear is 7, we need to put zeros and put the 7 in the ones place, okay? All right, now the third number that we're going to fill in the chart is 163,014. You'll notice that you still heard me say thousands, but you heard me say 163,000. So that means I'm starting in the hundred thousands place. 163,014 means I need to put a 0 in the hundreds place. And then one more, the last one is 62,429. So again, we've got a lot of numbers in the 10,000s place. 62,429. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at those numbers, and what we're going to do is we are going to look at individual place values, and we're going to start on the left with the highest place value because we're being told to order them from greatest to least down here. So if you kind of look at each column, you see that the only number that is in the hundred thousands is 163,014. That is the biggest number because the other the other numbers have nothing in that place value. Okay, so my first number in order from greatest to least is 163,014. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go to the next place value. And that place value is the 10,000s place. Now, what do you notice about all the numbers in the 10,000s place? Well, you notice that they're all sixes. So as of right now, until we move along to the next place value, we can't decide which number is bigger, okay? So they are all the same, so we're just going to go to the next place value and look at the thousands place. This time we have several numbers that all have 2's there, okay? And I'll tell you what, just for the sake of keeping it easy, we're going to cross this one out because we don't need to look at that one anymore, okay? All we need to look at is the other 3, okay? Again, the thousands place, we still have in every place value 2 thousands. So we still have to keep going to find when we get to a place value where one of the digits is larger than the other. So if I go to the hundreds place, Then I finally can see a place value that's greater than the others. This 4 is bigger than this one or this one. So that means that the number 62,429 is the next biggest number. I'm going to leave a little space in there, okay? All right, so now that that's done, I can cross that out. And now I'm going to just keep going. Now remember, I just compared the hundreds place. Well, if you look, the other two numbers have a difference in the hundreds place too. This one is the biggest. So that means that this number is the next largest. And then that brings us to this one as our last number. Okay? So now I have them in order from greatest to least. So now we'll go ahead and we'll cross these out and we'll do another example. And this time we will order the numbers that I give you from least to greatest. So we're going to find the smallest number. So let me give you the numbers. The first one is 124,696. 124,696. So if I order those and I hear the thousands again, then I know I'm going to have to start the number somewhere in the thousands group. And then you heard me say 124,000. So that's again in the hundred thousands place. So 124,696 is our first number. Our next number is 12,460. 12,460. That does not, you don't hear the hundreds in there, the hundred thousands, but you do hear 12,000s, which means that this number starts in the 10,000s place. So I'm going to write 12,460. The third number is 120,069. You hear the 100,000s again. So we're back to the 100,000s place. So we have 120,000, and then you heard me say 69. There's no 100 in there, so I'm going to put a 0 in the hundreds place and then write the 69. And then our last number is 120,009. So it's very similar to this one, but you just hear a 9. There's no hundreds and there's no tens. So now we're going to do our comparison again. So we are going to compare place values. We are looking for the least place value. Well, if you look at the highest place value, 3 of the numbers are in the hundred thousands, but you'll notice that this one is blank, which means that this one is a 0. So that number is going to be the smallest. So what is that number? Well, that number is 12,460, okay? That number has no hundred thousands, so it's smaller than the rest. So now we're going to keep going, and we're going to go to the 10,000s place in the other numbers. I don't see one that's less than the others. They all have 2s. So I'm going to go out of there. Now I'm going to go to the thousands place. Now this time in the thousands place, there is a difference. This number has a 4 in the thousands place, but these have 0s. So we know as of now that one of these two is going to be the smaller of them because both of them have 0 and the other one has a 4, okay? So far, all of these digits, the first 3 digits in these two numbers are all the same. Let's keep going. The hundreds place is also the same. So we still can't tell which one's smaller. But if we go to the tens place, now we can see a difference. The number that is smaller in the tens place is this 0 right here. 0 is smaller than 6. So we know now that 120,009 is smaller than 120,069. So I'll just go ahead and put the other one, 120,069. Remember, we already determined that this number is the greatest. And the reason why is because in this location, there's a 4. The 0s are smaller than 4, so we had to put these two numbers first. This number is the biggest. So I will write 124,696 at the very end for the greatest number. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to use greater than and less than symbols to compare two numbers instead of ordering.